Hey everyone, this is your host, Kevin the Bastard, and happy Turkey Day week. This week we're doing something a little bit different so we can take the week off and you still get content. We are going to be playing an episode of our Patreon series, Supernatural Sources. This is me and Mr. David Davis. We're talking about Whitley Strieber, Communion, upcoming episodes, and various other subjects. And if you would like to hear more, you can find a link to our Patreon at supernatpod.rocks or head on over to patreon.com/supernaturalselection. And we put out a couple episodes a month, more when we can. So that being said, I hope you enjoy this. I'm going to stick the theme music on, and we will see you next week for brand new material. Hello and welcome to Supernatural Sources, your bonus material for patrons of Supernatural Selection. I'm your host, Kevin the Bastard, and with me this time is Mr. David Davis. David, how are you doing, buddy?
I am doing well. It is a Sunday. I don't have a whole lot going on except talking to you, so things are pretty good.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I'm real glad to be doing this, and I don't really have a lot of plans today except play video games.
There you go.
So this week we're going to be talking, as usual, about our sources and upcoming episodes. And one of the things I wanted to bring up, David, is you know how on the most recent episode we talked about going back and doing a deep dive on Albert K. Bender?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Guess what I found on eBay?
I'm going to assume it has something to do with Albert K. Bender.
Oh, yes. I found a vintage 1968 edition of Flying Saucers and the Three Men by Albert K. Bender.
Oh, shit.
It is on the way, man.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. I love it.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited. I am so freaking excited. I saw it. I was like, this is synchronicity. This is like the shit the new Kirks talk about.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that. So we're planning to do an episode on Whitley Strieber, or a couple of episodes. I kind of feel like we need to do a episode leading up to communion, and then a post communion,
pre and post communion.
Yeah, I think that will be a fun way to do it. And one of the things that I decided to do, which I finished reading the book.
Mm-hmm.
It is amazing. It is so, we're so lucky an author got abducted by visitors, because the only way it could have been better is if Stephen King had been abducted.
I do want to, I'm hoping to start reading it today, actually. I got my e-reader.
Yeah.
I'm actually planning on buying a new e-reader next year, because my 15-year-old e-reader now is like, oh boy.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the book is amazing. Mm-hmm. I really want to stress that. It is a thought-provoking, well-written piece by a man whose life was nearly destroyed by a brush with the unknown and his attempts to deal with that.
Well, and that's a recurring theme that we have in our stories, especially when we deal with survival encounters with the supernatural. Is some people get really fucked up by this stuff.
Oh, they definitely do.
And it seems like Whitley Strieber's one of those who, he really, something happened and it really fucked him up.
Oh, definitely. And his entire thing is he started out this entire experience as a skeptic.
Mm-hmm.
He did not believe in UFOs, aliens, any of that stuff. He had a passing familiarity with Betty and Barney Hill.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. He didn't really have any interest or anything. Yeah, he was a horror author. He wrote The Wolfen and The Hunger and stuff like that, and those got turned into movies, which, good for him.
Yeah.
But he was not an enthusiast, and then this happened, and there's one part in the book where he talks about he's sitting there staring at the window in his 20-something floor apartment in New York, and he's thinking, I should jump.
Yeah.
I'm like, that says everything right there that you need to know.
Yeah, like especially because we're gonna get into the movie, but like the movie is like really uncomfortable at times because of like how you see this family falling apart.
Oh yeah, and they definitely did a good job of that in the movie. Which the movie, I believe, my description was okay. All that stuff I said about the book, but what if cocaine? Because it is. Wow.
Yeah, and it is a pretty accurate depiction of the film.
Yeah, and I wanted to know what Strieber's opinion was on the film before we really get into it. So I looked it up, and he is not a fan of the film Communion. Now, he wrote the script, but it is a heavily improvised film.
Yeah, apparently Christopher Walken, like, kind of got away with doing a lot.
Oh, yes, he certainly did. Oh, yes. Oh, the aliens. Oh, what are you doing to my butt? Yeah, it's. Oh God, man.
Did you check the IMDb page for the trivia?
Oh no, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Please enlighten me.
I'm going to read a quote here. Okay, while serving as executive producer, author Whitley Strieber, whose experiences serve as the basis of the film, expressed concerns about Christopher Walken's abilities in portraying him. When Strieber finally told Walken that he might be portraying him as a little too crazy, Walken replied, "If the shoe fits."
Oh God.
Yeah, like there's some stuff going on in this movie.
Yeah.
We were talking about improvising, right? Okay, this is a great one. The scene in which Whitley Strieber, played by Christopher Walken, holds up the alien's face mask over his face was improvised by Walken and was 2 minutes long, but only appears in the film for a few seconds. So it's just 2 minutes of him just fucking around with his mask.
Yeah, I can imagine it. And the thing is, in this movie, this is him full on more cowbell.
Yeah, this is like Walken Unleashed.
Yes. He's certainly walking around with this role. Yeah, I'm sorry for that joke, but general impression of the movie. What did you think?
Okay, so it's a weird movie, and I don't mean that as like a criticism of it, but there are just some movies where it's like, you see it, you realize that it's a unique thing that you wouldn't see outside of this time period it was made.
Right.
And it's not a judgment of whether or not it's good. Like, I don't think it's a great movie. I think it's a weird movie, but it has some stuff that really sticks with me.
Definitely. It's certainly from the director of The Howling 2 and 3.
Yeah, I was looking actually, because I love like looking up the stuff. So, director is Philippe Mora. And his IMDb page is absolutely fascinating. He's got like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 projects in production right now.
I saw that. I was like, wow, you are a busy motherfucker these days.
And he seems to be doing a lot of like documentaries, but a lot of like weird little small films. Like I see this all the time when I'm doing research on like Star Trek actors. Like they show up in a lot of like fan films, and that shit's listed on IMDb.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff that he seems to be doing right now.
Right.
He's got one movie, Custer at Nuremberg. The Hunchback Bee of Notre Dame. I was a communist werewolf, which just sounds like a description of me.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. It also sounds like a Roger Corman film.
Yeah, it's like a Roger Corman film if like Roger Corman wasn't involved, but someone was trying to get his attention.
Right.
Yeah, but and the thing is, this director was already friends with Whitley Strieber.
Oh wow!
Yeah, because Strieber was talking to him about like his experiences that are documented in Communion, and Mora is like, "Well, if you write it down, let me read it."
Yeah.
So,
well, funny thing, his friend Jacques that stays with him at the cabin at the beginning, that is actually the guy that played Jakar on Babylon 5.
Yeah, Andreas Katsoulis.
Yes, never can say his
Now,
name.
see,
but
I know
great
him.
actor.
I know him as the one-armed man in The Fugitive.
That's right, he was.
Yeah.
He played a Romulan several times on Star Trek The Next Generation.
More than likely, in the next couple of months, I'm going to have to write an article about him, because for some reason I end up doing all these profiles about people who were on, like, one episode of Star Trek.
Yeah, he was,
yeah.
and he was actually in the last episode of Next Generation, so that's a fun one. They had him back because he is such a good friend.
Okay, yeah, I can see he's one of these weird guys, because he was in, like, 3 episodes of Max Headroom, so...
Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
He's got a vibe to him. Oh, yeah, and he was in Alien Nation? Fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah, the movie? Yeah.
No, the series.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Cool. I love the series, by the way.
Oh, yeah, no, Alien Nation's completely underrated. But,
great series that people need to go back and pay more attention to.
Oh, fuck, he was in Millennium, too.
Oh, wow. We're talking about the series?
Yeah, Lance Henriksen.
Spin-off of the X-Files?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like it was a gothy X-Files.
Oh, yeah, gothy X-Files. So, here's the thing about the film.
Mm-hmm.
The beginning of the film is, I want to say, quite good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like... It feels like a good family sort of like drama, like it feels higher quality at the beginning because we don't get into like some of the cheesy supernatural effects they're trying to go for.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's before they get into the dollar store bendy figure on strings floating around the room with the naked Christopher Walken dancing around. And it's, I don't know, it does a good job of building tension and some level of fear, like that scene where he's sitting in the chair and just the gray face comes around the corner from behind the wardrobe.
Well,
that terrified me.
Well, and also, like, the film... One of the things, so again, like, I have complex feelings about this film because there's stuff in here that I see, it's like, oh, that's really good. So, like, for example, when... There's little things in the set dressing that are meant to put you off. Like when he goes to the office of Dr. Janet Duffy, there's all these like busts and figures that evoke what he saw.
Yes.
Which part of me is like, I don't know if that's like the director potentially making a commentary that like, well, maybe... you know, he was influenced by what he saw or whatever. But yeah, there's all these little elements that just kind of make you uneasy. And, you know, it also helps with like the weird nature of the 1980s as we see in this film.
See, I kind of felt like the hints at the visitors in that stuff was more of a less of him being influenced and more of implying that other people are seeing it but don't know.
Yeah, see, like I think the fact that we can read it as both is a credit to what the film does. I think if they were to remake this film now, I think you could get a lot out of it.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing that drags the film down is honestly, you know, as much as it's going to pay me to say, I think Christopher Walken drags the film down.
I really agree. I think he was horribly miscast in this movie.
Yeah, like the whole scene with him laughing at the aliens, which, like, that's a great clip. It's hilarious and it's, like, weird and it's unnerving. But also, it's him literally laughing when he sees the aliens and the director's like, fuck it, throw it in. And, like, I can understand why you would do that. But also, it's not really giving that sort of thing the gravitas that it needed.
I agree. There's a certain level. Once it hits a point, it just becomes camp, and I just don't like that. I feel like this could have been such a better film. Yeah, and it really is Christopher Walken that kills it.
You know what would have made this film better? And this is going to sound ridiculous coming from me. Is you cut out all of the scenes and depictions of the aliens and just literally have him doing the regressive therapy and talking about what he's experiencing.
Oh, I totally agree. I feel like actually seeing the aliens was a detriment.
Yeah, if you just have him, eyes closed, just relaying what he saw.
It, yeah.
Like, you can still have the situation with the lights and everything showing up, but him just kind of, like, having to, like, sell the trauma.
Right. And, like, the stuff we saw at the beginning, like the hand holding the wand up to his head, that's fine. Seeing the things, like even the clockwork thing coming at him in the bedroom.
Like, that stuff works.
Holy
it's just
shit.
when you get to the literal fucking visitor's ship and you see the visitors in there.
Yeah, the bendy figures and the troll men.
Yeah, and then, like, for the probe scene, which I'm sure we're going to talk about more, like the probe scene, instead of showing it, like, have his, like, visceral, raw reaction screaming as he remembers it as he's being talked to by the doctor.
I completely agree, because there's something silly about watching a blue troll guy shove a studio mic up Christopher Walken's
and it's
ass.
also the way in which, like, it's done, because, like, do they have him, like, perched at the end of the table, like, uncomfortably? Yeah. Like, why didn't they, like, flip him over and...
Why not a gynecologist chair with stirrups?
Exactly. Again, like...
it was real weird. Film. It's really... I don't know that I recommend watching it, but if you're down to have your brain fucked,
yes. And like there's some stuff in there that I like. I remember I was talking to you yesterday, I think, and I had mentioned something about the what was it? The Chinese box,
right?
And
right.
I don't have the quote.
Right, hang on, I can find that.
Yeah, it's when he's talking to, like, the swarthy version of himself.
Right, the magician version with his wife.
And the magician.
Yeah, and... oh, God. Again, with the Futurama. Oh, my God.
And it's weird. It's one of those where I kind of wish I owned it just so I could, like, do, like, an alien month where it's just weird alien survival shit.
Yes.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I'm going to kind of look at some more of the trivia just for fun. Let's see.
It's a puzzle box, and you're not going to get to what's inside. Let's just get that clear.
Yeah. And I think that's super fascinating, and I don't know if that explanation is in the book.
There's
which is, it's weird because that's a very insightful statement, especially because what we've talked about, like, how these things, they present themselves as being impossible to understand. If we're talking about these being extra dimensional entities. So I found that, like, really, really interesting and explains a lot about encounters in general. And it's weird it's coming from, like, the weirdest fucking scene in the film.
It is. And I can't find the quote, but it's full of really interesting dialogue. I'll say that for sure when it's not scripted. I'm going out for a pack of cigarettes, but you don't smoke. and
that was such a weird bit.
It was. That's obviously improv.
And the fact that he got, like, dressed up for it, too, which is another interesting character choice.
Yeah, okay, yeah, black shirt, black tie, black coat, black pants, black shoes, black fedora, and a video camera. And he finds the glowing orb in the woods. I'm like, none of that is in the book. I really need to stress that.
Oh, okay, wait, I found a deleted scene here.
Oh.
Okay. There was a deleted scene in which Strieber dreams that he is becoming his wife, and Walken appears briefly in drag with bizarre flashes of a crying child abductees, the jack-o'-lantern, and the doors and windows opening, flooding the dark rooms with light. So we missed out on a chance to see Christopher Walken in drag.
Wow.
Right?
I was thinking, you said remaking the movie, and you know who I think would make a pretty good Whitley Strieber in a remake? I'm just going to chuck James Spader out there.
I think James Spader, yes. Another one who I think would, especially if you go with the approach that I had where it's like literally you don't show the aliens, you just show them reacting. Paul Dano.
Paul Dano?
Yeah, Paul Dano would be amazing as a Whitley Strieber.
Oh yes, yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Think about him like eyes shut in the psychologist office, just like relaying, like the trauma of. Well, I'm gonna basically call it a rape scene. Like,
Yes.
yeah, the trauma of the rape. Paul Dano just like giving it his all, talking about that. Like, oh my god, I got chills thinking about that.
See that? Yes. And speaking of, let's talk for just a second about. There's also a documentary that you mentioned called Visitors.
I need to finish watching that myself. Like, I started it.
I did not finish it because it got too real for me.
I think that's what kicked off our whole discussion about all of this, because like I had started watching it and yeah, it got really real. So I stopped and I mentioned, hey, we're going to have to talk about Whitley Strieber. And then like, the past like month we've been like doing little bits about him.
Oh, right.
Thinking about it.
And I said this on Twitter, I owe Whitley Strieber like the biggest apology for every joke I've done over the last 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, that motherfucker went through some shit, man. I don't care if you believe or not. Something happened to him.
Yeah.
And, but, like, there's some stuff he was talking about in the documentary that, you remember I told you about that dream I had where I woke up and there was a loud buzz in the house and I ran and my mom was missing and I jumped in bed and covered up my head, and then when I pulled it down there was a gray in my face?
Yeah, I recall that.
Yeah, he talks about that happening to him, his son and wife being missing.
Honestly, man, I think you were probably abducted at some point.
You know what? Here's the thing. I didn't think that until I watched that documentary and then did some reading. And my whole CODA, I disrupt electrical stuff. Yeah, it turns out that is a side effect of abduction.
Oh, wow.
So, I haven't talked to Mike about this. I'm probably not going to talk to Mike about this because I will never live it down. But I talked to Dusty about this, and she was very like, oh no. Not like a, oh no, this relationship's over, but like a, oh no, you may have been abducted.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is fascinating, and I don't know if we'll ever get to this on like our big show, but like this might be something to explore later, for sure. But like all the signs are there that like you probably had an encounter, with the exception of the Christmas tree in the sky, but otherwise.
God damn it, motherfucker. It wasn't a Christmas tree.
Yeah, and I'm on the one hand, I'm kind of glad that hasn't happened to me, but on the other hand, I'm like, I would be interested to experience it as well. So you have this very interesting story that you could look into.
Well, for years, like reading about this stuff, I've been like, oh man, wouldn't it be awesome to be abducted? And then like on another level, I'm like, now that I think it might have happened to me, I'm like,
yeah.
Fuck this.
Did I get a Blue Yeti microphone shoved up my butt?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, and speaking of the microphone, when they pull the butt probe out in the movie.
Yeah, it was really weird when the alien licked it. I'm just kidding.
But when he pulled it out and Walken goes, can we talk this over? You look like you're about to sing White Christmas. I'm like, what?
Right. Again, the problem with the movie is Christopher Walken.
Yes, he is. He is riffing on the movie in the film,
and it absolutely pains me to say that because I love Christopher Walken. Just his vibe. Like I love his vibe, but like he is not the right actor for this movie.
No, definitely not. He's a fantastic actor, but not for this.
I'll tell you who was really good in the movie was I forgot her name. It was Lindsay Krause as Anne.
Oh, yes,
like,
yes.
Again, like one of the things that makes me so great. One of the things that makes me so uncomfortable about the film is how raw it is regarding the destruction of the family. When she's insulting him and like questioning him and that sort of thing, it's like, oh man, this is. Now you read the book. Now, how accurate was Anne in this compared to the Anne of the book? Because from what I gathered, she was more supportive.
Oh, she is definitely more supportive. In fact, she is the one who was like, we need to explore this. We need to figure out what happened. And then when he went through the stuff, and he talks about this in the documentary, he went to her and he was like, we need to have a talk. And she she's terrified that he's gonna, like, we have to get a divorce. And he says, I think I may have been abducted by aliens. And she's like, oh, thank God I don't have to raise the kid alone. So she started, like, all of the stuff he's known for today. She founded his podcast, Dreamland, on unknowncountry.com, which I've listened to some of it. And Mr. Strieber's gone very, for lack of a better term, woo-woo in recent years. But considering the loss of his wife a few years ago, after Anne passed, I can't blame him.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, like, if I lost Dusty, I'd go woo-woo as fuck.
So I guess my question is, what do you think? Do you think that they made Anne so antagonistic just for the drama in the film? Like, because again, like, Whitley Strieber adapted his book to the screenplay, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, like, why did he do that? Did he realize it needed some sort of dramatic?
I think that's part of it. I think it needed some dramatic stuff.
Because but then again, I'm thinking about that, and it's like, are there some unresolved feelings that, like, maybe we didn't get from the novel or from the book Communion?
I feel like it came out like 2 years after the incident, or 3 years after the incident. So that's a pretty quick turnaround for a book and a movie.
Yeah,
and
no, I was just thinking about that. That's like, I feel like Harry Potter, the rights come out, and it's like, fuck, we're making this movie.
Yeah, we're still working on the book right now, but the movie is also in the pipe. Yeah. But I feel like, yes, there was some stuff unresolved. From what I understand from other later books, Strieber was going up to the cabin and drinking heavily during this period. So, like, there was still some very unresolved issues with him and the family going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure it subconsciously went in there, and, like, there may be a part of him that was like, I kind of wish she had been more angry about this. So I wouldn't have had to look into it more.
Well, and, and also, like, this is a huge, like, there are a few moments in your life that, like, define your life as much as something like this does. So, like, there's got to be this, like, unresolved or, tension regarding that. And I feel like maybe I think you're right that, like, maybe he wished she pushed back against it a little bit, because, like, his life never went back to the way it was after this.
Yeah, his phrasing in the doc was fantastic, where he said, the Whitley Strieber that opened the door to that cabin that day never came back. He has not been back. I am not that same person.
Yeah.
And that person will never be back.
Yeah.
Which is a fairly chilling statement.
Yeah, no, like, it's a very writerly statement, and I mean that in, like, the best way possible. Like,
oh, absolutely.
I am eager to dive into this book because, like, number one, like, you've read a bunch of, like, books for the show, and they've been pretty bad. I've read my fair share as well, but apparently this one's like, really good.
Oh, God. It is, like, it's a joy to read that book as compared to every other thing I've read. With the possible exception of a few Nick Redfern books, which are fun little collections. But this is much more emotional. Yeah. It's much less fact-finding. It is and it deals with his childhood, his relationship with his father, which they definitely do not get into in the film.
What we should do is also look into the communion letters.
That is a book I need to get ASAP, because that looks like it's going to be a really interesting read.
Yeah, you could do an entire thing just on the communion letters.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to probably end up doing 3 or 4 Whitley Strieber and communion-related episodes spaced out, because there's just so much.
Yeah. I definitely like a pre and post. And then, I think communion letters would definitely be something to explore.
Yeah. And in that documentary, I've never heard the audio from his hypnosis sessions before. And that is chilling.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I think I only got a little bit in the documentary, and I was like, "Hey, no, Kevin, we need to look at this," and then I
Yeah.
didn't go back to it. I think
Well,
because I was watching too much Ghost Adventures.
Right.
They had that 24-hour live streaming channel. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, it happens.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I got a good chunk of the way through it, and before I was just like highly uncomfortable. Like, I was starting to have anxiety thinking about things from my past, but hearing the tapes, that is a man in absolute terror screaming.
And that's why I think redoing this, but focusing on just the audio terror of him talking,
Right.
is the way to go for a thing like this. Don't show us don't show us the entities. Don't show us the visitors.
Maybe hints, but don't do what the film did,
Yeah.
because that got goofy as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and here's the thing: I now, after reading the book, I realize, the little goblin dudes. There's one with like a real wide mouth.
Oh
and
yeah,
then
I called
one-
him Station.
Yes, yes, you called him Station, which is fantastic. Station. But the other one that really stands out is a one with a big, long, tube puckered mouth.
Right.
And apparently that's supposed to be one entity. Like, when he's awake, he has his plastered fake smile like a nurse.
Mm.
And then when he's asleep, which how Whitley's son knows this, I have no idea. He said his mouth just goes into a puckered O when he's relaxed.
Don't we get the impression that, like, Whitley's son was also...
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and
Yes.
Speaking of like funky aliens, like this gives us more funky aliens than a modern Star Wars project, which I love. For example, but the scene on the bus is one of my favorite scenes because it reminds me a little bit of like Naked Lunch. It's got the surrealist angle to it, like all the insect heads and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's
the mantises.
That
Mantis
is such a good
cucks.
scene. That is exactly. No, that is such a good scene. Him, tell me, does this go to the end of the line? And then he the bus is full of the insectoids, and it's just like, ooh, this is good. And then they had to ruin it.
Then he dances.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's also like the scene at the Halloween party where someone's wearing a mantis outfit and he just like freaks the fuck out.
Yeah, like that was also really good. I thought the party scene was excellent. I think Anne's reaction to it created a lot of tension. Again, like there's so many elements of this film that like work, that it's a shame that like the elements that didn't work really dragged it down.
I completely agree. And it also just really God, it is so 80s.
Yes. I could smell the cigarettes on the plastic furniture.
Oh, yeah, no. And that clock in the cabin with the big paper hands, I was like, I don't know where they got that or if they made it, but I kind of want it. Because it's like, it's got like giant arrows for hands made of like cut out paper or cardboard or something. I'm like, that's
a wild fucking clock, dude.
That is like the one thing I really remembered prior to this rewatch was that clock.
Yeah, it's a striking clock. And, and there's all sorts, again, like the set design does a lot of storytelling. His little writing nook, for example, tells you a lot about the character. But like there's one detail I saw here that Whitley has a picture of the Great Wave of Kanagawa. Have you ever seen that one before?
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, so he has a picture of the Great Wave of Kanagawa, but there's a little added cartoon character facing the tsunami with an exclamation mark above his head. And it's just that's like a little detail that you don't really pick up, but then like if you rewatch it, it's like, oh, huh.
Well, from everything I get, Whitley Strieber has a really good sense of humor, and like he's gotten a lot looser about it. Like in one of the most recent episodes of Dreamland I'm listening to, they're talking about the visitors, and one of the guys is talking, we don't know what they're doing. I mean, no one's ever met an alien scientist before, and there's a moment of silence, and Whitley just goes, I have. And the dude goes, shit, I forgot about that.
Oh, apparently he made a cameo in the remake of Disney's Race to Witch Mountain.
You know, it wasn't it him and Anne?
I don't see Anne. I see
Okay.
William J. Burns of UFO
Okay.
Hunters was in there. But yeah, no, Whitley Strieber apparently made an appearance in
Wow.
Escape to Witch Mountain. You know, another rock vehicle.
Yes. Which, if you haven't seen Black Adam, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm not interested. Like,
Yeah.
Maybe I'll start getting into the DC stuff once James Gunn is fully like taking over, because like all of his stuff has been good. In the DC
this is
stuff.
kind of close to it, and it actually ties into some of his stuff. It's got like Waller and the blonde lady from Peacemaker and all that, but it's definitely, it's fine. It's take your brain off the hook entertainment.
Yeah, I'd probably more see it for the JSA elements than Black Adam himself, because like I don't to introduce
Fate's
Black
great.
Adam without the context of, you know, I'm not going to call him Shazam. I'm going to call him Captain Marvel.
Well, the wizards are in it.
Yeah, but like again, it's like, why would you do? And it sounds to me like The Rock does not want to do a movie where it's Black Adam versus Captain Marvel. Like he does not want to do
feeling. I get that. I get that feeling.
I hate it. 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 I hate it.
I understand. But
sorry about that.
No, it's okay. We got on a tangent there, and it's fine.
That's why we do these episodes.
Yes, exactly. But that movie is about half brilliant, half insane.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good assessment. Like again, like I really enjoyed it, but also like it's not great.
No, the parts that work really work, and the parts that don't really don't. Like, it comes out swinging for the fences, and it needs to work on its backhand. For lack of a better term.
No, I get it, man. I get it.
Yeah, because, I mean, like, everybody, I've shown that clip of him having the greeting ritual with the Goblin guys to everybody I work with, and they all laugh.
It's an incredible clip.
It is. It's
like
insane.
Devoid of any context. It is like one of the most hilarious things you will ever watch.
Oh, yeah, no, I love that part where he just, am I awake? Is that what you're trying to say, that I'm awake? And then it just shows a rubber figure surrounded with smoke with noises.
And then they start doing the rumba.
Yes. And that's the thing. And my favorite part of that is the part where Strieber just looks at the camera and sort of shrugs like, I don't know what's happening either. It's a fantastic clip, but when you put it into the rest of the movie, it definitely tracks it down. But yeah, I don't know. I have trouble trying to figure out if I would recommend this movie or not.
For the average person, I would say no, unless you're doing maybe if you paired it with another film.
Yeah, if you're like hate watching a movie.
Like you see, I what I would do is I would say like, okay, we're gonna get like two different forms of survival encounters. You know, we're doing a double feature. We're gonna start off with Fire in the Sky.
Oh yes,
and
Best
then we're gonna
alien
do Communion.
Holy shit! If you could get like the mood from the abduction scenes in Fire in the Sky and inject those, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, and I think if you were to double feature them like that, I think it would be like super. It'd be interesting because again, that's kind of like how The Last Drive-In works. Is like they have a crowd pleaser up front, and then they have a little bit of a deeper cut in the second half of the evening.
Right? No, totally. You definitely follow up with Communion. But I do feel like if you combine like the mood of the abduction scenes from Fire in the Sky with Communion, you would probably have a perfect abduction movie, because I find the rest of Fire in the Sky boring.
Yeah. Again, like it's really hard to make like an encounter film.
It is.
It's really hard to do that.
Because you're I don't know. I feel like it's a nut that needs to be cracked, though, at some point.
Yeah, it's like number one, you have to have the right encounter, but then you also kind of have to like find the right people who will give it like, again, not playing into it as being okay. So obviously you have to play it like from two angles. Number one, it has to be something that could possibly happen, but it also needs to be something that like you could reasonably point out like, well, maybe this person is imagining this.
Right. And, the other thing that I like about Strieber, and kind of in this movie, is in no way does he ever really say these are aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like they call them visitors.
Yeah, he says visitors because, as he says multiple times in all of his books, I have no idea what those are or what actually happened to me. I call them visitors because they visited me. And I feel like that is something that needs to be played into, because this could be a spiritual incident. He has him and Anne had a theory that this could be what happens after we die, not like an afterlife situation, but that like we are a larval stage, and that the visitors are the developed version of humanity afterwards. Like we come out of our chrysalis into the super spectrum, as it were.
Oh, what? So like AI from Spielberg and Kubrick?
I guess so. I guess. But like, we die, we become those things in a higher dimension, and then we come down here to like try to usher humanity to make it better. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like we also could do a big thing about Strieber's ecological views, because he has a very strong ecological bent. He actually wrote The Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah, I just kind of put that one together just recently.
Yeah. So definitely something we can talk about in a future episode.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I am looking forward to, and I think this will be one of those where, like, because you and I are starting to co-write stuff now a little more.
Yes, and we're going to work on the return of Off the Rack Assholes.
Yeah, I'm working on that this week.
Yeah, same here.
Just because, like,
we're
again,
do several of those.
It's one of those things where I have all my sources. I just need to like sit down and put them into notes.
Right.
But I'm going to make sure that's taken care of. But I want to work with you on this communion episode, so that's why I'm definitely going to read the book and watch that documentary as well.
God, highly recommend the book. Documentary scared the shit out of me. I might have been abducted. But the thing that really, really gets me about the Men in Black thing that we're doing is I completely forget it. Are you familiar with Brad Steiger?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay, well, Brad Steiger is, he's one of those paranormal researcher guys, and he's written tons of stuff. Steiger had a very personal relationship with the Men in Black, to the point that they found I don't want to use the term lookalike, but an impersonator to go around and try to ruin his reputation.
Yeah, he looks like Wolfman Jack.
Yes. Now, imagine the Men in Black hate you so much they start trying to ruin your reputation by sending a fake you around to UFO conferences to call everyone stupid.
It's almost like everybody doing like the changing their names to Elon Musk right now on Twitter.
It really is. It's kind of like that, but paranormal. So, I'm going to talk about that, and then I've got a second one about some guys that were like, we had done some mescaline, and then we saw Men in Black. And we did acid the previous day. But, it's okay, because we were smoking hash after that to take the edge off. And I'm like, this is totally legit.
As you do.
Absolutely. Not that we're downing anyone for doing any of those things. It's just that, if you do those things and you say you saw the Men in Black, maybe I'm not going to believe you. So, yeah. Well, this has been fun. That's about 45 minutes of us talking about Whitley Strieber, and good little preview for what's coming, because, man, this is going to be a good series of episodes about him.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I figure we both work on documents for this, and we kind of present our stuff, and
Yeah, because we'll have the one document, and then we'll each kind of pour into it, and then I'll probably go in and add some like little extra bits here and there.
Right. And, yeah. And if you get the chance, check out his podcast, Dreamland. And there is a podcast. Hang on, let me get the name of it real quick that I discovered, and he's featured on some of it. It's really hard to find old episodes of Coast to Coast AM right now.
Yeah.
Because they have a classics podcast available, but it's like 15-minute chunks, which is garbage. Yeah. So there is a podcast called the Art Bell Tape Vault, which is entire episodes recorded off the radio.
Oh, wow.
That this guy is digitizing and putting out as a podcast.
I fucking love that. That's fantastic.
Yes. And, okay, we were just talking about synchronicity? 2 days ago, Paranormal Topics, Brad Steiger from 1995. Shit. Holy shit.
Oh, shit, yeah, because, like, about a month ago, I had watched a video on Brad Steiger from a YouTube channel that is now dead to me.
Yes.
But, like, interesting, though, yeah, like, that we're hearing more about him now.
Which is weird. I mean, it's just really interesting. Oh, wow. Okay, October 19th, Fire in the Sky, Travis Walton and Mike Rogers. Which we are going to do an episode about the Fire in the Sky incident.
Yeah.
There's a really good documentary called Travis out that I recommend you check out, where they talk to him and Mike Rogers, and it's really well done, and they do talk about Philip Klass, the fucking asshole that he is. Fuck that guy. I believe James Garner played him in the movie. He's the one that was like trying to prove they were all lying. And if you've ever heard the clip of him talking to Travis Walton, where it's like, "You are a lying son of a bitch." I hate that guy so fucking much.
Oh, he did a great job.
Yeah. Yep. Great job of making himself look like an asshole.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right. Well, look, everybody, thank you for donating to the Patreon. We hope you enjoy these. We'll be doing more real soon. I'm going to tackle part 2 of Chapter 2 of Unexplained next time. Holy shit, Chapter 2 is huge. It's about unidentified aerial phenomenon. And it was sort of interesting because it involved, like, sky jellyfish, like in Nope.
Oh wow! Yeah, I need to watch Nope. I know that it lands on. I know that it lands on Peacock in like next week.
Yes.
So I'm gonna watch it then. It was just one of those things where it's like the timing didn't work out for me to go see it. Which
I totally understand.
Yeah.
But you need to see it. It's like, because the whole time I'm watching this movie, I'm like, I feel like Satan from that Kids in the Hall sketch going, "Yes, finally, a show for me, a show that speaks directly to me." So it was just so fucking good. So yeah. All right. Well, we will be back next time. We'll see you next week for the show, which will be a week in weird. And Mike is already finding some fun stuff for that.
Excellent.
So, yes, and I'll find some fun stuff too. So, everybody, we'll see you next time. So until then, stay safe and stay frosty.
Also, watch the Weird Al story.
Yes. Get Roku. Watch Weird, the Al Yankovic story.
That is an amazing movie.
I'm going to check it out.
All right. Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.